Now the other property, the visual property of the object, is the line weight. So where basically the line weight comes when we increase the line weight, that is the properties. Again, this is again a properties. Let's say I have a line over here and another line over here. This line is having a different color. For example, it's having a color bluish tint, and this is having a color, let's say red. But as well as I give the properties over here as let's say I go to the properties drop down, and here we have this I give a color, let's say line weight. So the second part of the line weight, so here I give a line weight of, let's say, 0.30. Now you can see it's becomes a much thicker because okay, the line weight is shown because the line display line weight option is checked, and you can increase the scale as we discussed it in the previous sessions. So now this object is basically having a different color, a different line weight, and it belongs to layer 0. This object belongs to layer 0, but it is having a different color and line weight. Now I want to match this object with this, so I select this object and go for a match. Now I was using the MA command, so what else you can do on the properties, you can have the match property where you select the source object. Let's say this is a source object, and then you can create a window and match it. So there's a very simple trick. So let's say if I want to match, I change the color of the text of the toilet, it belongs to the annotation layer, and let's say I change it to blue. Now what happens when I do a match property? So I select the source and I select the destination. Now the question is, what are the things are matched between the source and the destination? Let's understand it again. So there are two lines. Let's take the two lines again. So I give it a different color. Now this is the source and this is the destination. So when you're matching the property of this particular line with this, so what is happening, it is transferring all the property inside it. And what are the properties that you're matching? Let's see. So for that you need to go to the match property command again, click, press enter, and select the source object. The moment you select a source object, so there is an option called settings that come. Now it says you can match the basic properties as well as the special properties. The basic properties like the color will be matched, the layer will be matched, the line type will be matched, the line type scale will be matched, the line width will be matched, and the transparency of the object will map, and the thickness will be matched. So these are the pointers. Now when you selected this object, the property setting shows the current status of this particular object. Let's say it says it is having a color of this particular grade, and layer is in 0, and so and so and so. Now let's say if I only want to match the color, I don't want to match these properties like the layer, line type, scale, and other thing. So let's see what happens. Now at this moment of time, let's say I have a different line type in order to make it more clear. And let's put the line weight a bit thinner, let's say, right. So I do a match properties, and I say that, you know, I am selecting this object and the source. In the settings I clear all the check boxes over here, and I say only color. So here I am only going to match the color of this object with this, right? So you can see that the color is changed, not the line weight. Now let's see again. So now this object is in the layer annotation, and this object is in 0. Now I go to the match property, I select the object, and I say that I want to match only the layer. That means whatever layer it is assigned, the same layer should be assigned to this object. So I select the option, select this object, and now you can see that the color hasn't changed. but it now has been transferred to 0 layer. So this is how you can be selective about what you're matching. Let's take more example. Now I have got this lines over here. Let's say I have got this line over here, line over here, line over here, and I take some line type, some exciting line type. Let's say I go and load some line types. Let's say I use this line type, gas line. Select this, go to the properties and say gas line, and increase the line type scale. Select properties, and let's say the line type scale over here, I change it to 10. Now you can see these are the properties which you can match. So I increase the line type, let's say scale. Now if I want to match the now it has a different color. Let me give some color to it. Let's say a blue color, and it is, this object is in the door layer, this object is in the anode layer, but they are having different colors. They are not using the color of the layer. The color has been overridden. Now I go for a match and I say, okay, this is a source object, but I don't want to match the layers. I just wanted to match the line type. So clear the layer option, go with the line type and the line type scale. So both of them will be inherited by this particular object while you are matching it. So this is how you basically make a justification of matching the properties. So you can be selective. Now there are certain other things that was there in the settings. Let's see what are these things. So once you select the object, go to the settings, once the destination. So it says that the dimension can be matched, the text properties can be matched, the hatch properties can be matched, the table styles can be matched, the materials can be matched, as well as the polyline, in which polyline thicknesses and other properties can be matched. So there are some special properties also which can be matched apart from what I have discussed. Okay, so quickly now, after understanding the match properties, let's understand about the hyperlink option. So that's basically something that I needed to discuss with you. So hyperlink means you are linking the object with some drawings or some website or some link. So how do you do it? So click on the right hyperlink option, click on it, press enter and select the object. The moment you click on select the object, press enter, so this dialog box will be displayed. Now over here you have the text to display. So I say drawings, and let's say type the file or web page names. I say CAD drawings, right? So this is what how the link will be done, and then I go to the file and select the let's say challenge to open. So now the moment you see it, so the moment you hover your mouse over here, you find that this is the hyperlink is shown over here. So this is control plus click to follow the link. So now the moment you press control and click, so the drawing that is linked will be opened. So this is how the hyperlink works. Now how the hyperlinks is shown, so the moment you place your mouse over the object, the hyperlinks will be shown, and then you press the control and the click to follow the link. So this is what the hyperlink is supposed to be. So after discussing the match properties and the hyperlink, so let's talk about the quick selection of the objects. Now selection has been something very important that we need to understand. So we have a window selection, we had a fence selection, we have a crossing window selection that we have studied in the previous selection. Now this is somewhat is a quick selection that we are talking about. I use it regularly for selecting some objects which are very specific. Now let's do a quick understanding about the quick selection. So let's say the command for the quick selection is Q-select. So you can type it over here. Now you can see over here the quick selection is there in the home tab, in the utilities panel, quick select, or you can directly go for Q-select command, right? So I would suggest that you should go with the Q-select command or go to the home utilities panel and then the quick select option. So you can use both of them whenever you require. So here you have the utilities panel, and then there's a Q select quick calculator as well as the quick select. This is the icon of the quick select. Click on it, and here the dialog box will be displayed. Now here it say apply to entire drawing, so that's fine. So the moment you click on the object, so the button that is there, so it is now to the current selection. So if you wouldn't have selected let's say anything, so it would have been applied to the entire drawing. So any specific object that you want to select, so it say okay, I want to select, it's basically a multiple object. Now here these are the operands. So now you have to see what are the ranges that you have given. You said entire drawing, any object, but select those object which is having a layer equal to, let's say, a dimension. So include a new selection set. The moment you press OK, you find that all the objects that are in the dimension layer will be selected. Now once it is selected, now either you can erase them or you can basically shift them to a different layer. So you can do a lot of things. Now let's take another example. I want to select the object with the which is in the annotation layer. So here we are. So again, go to the Q select option, and then you say okay, fine, it's entire drawing, object type is, let's say in this case it is a text, and so object type is text, apply to entire drawing, and let's say the properties of the text layer is equal to, let's say, annotation. So all the text which is in the annotation layer will be selected in the drawing. So that is what the quick selector parameters that you have assigned. So press OK. So now you can see that the text. Now let's say if this object wouldn't have been in the annotation layer. Now again apply the Q selector option. So you go over here, go to the apply to the entire drawing, object type is multiple. So you say okay, so here you have to change it to text option and say that's fine. So any object in the entire drawing, the text object of layer equal to anno will be selected. So now you can see that this object is not selected because this is a text, but it does not belong to the anno layer. Now let's do something more interesting. Now I have got some circles. Let's say if I want to see the properties of the circle, click right, go to the property, and radius is 5 feet. Now you have got a lot of circles which are basically off. So I copy them and put them randomly somewhere, right? And let's say there can be situation like this, but we can see it interestingly. So here, so there are circles which is having a radius of 5 feet. Now in this particular context, so what I wanted to do is I want to select that particular circle which is 5 feet, right? So you go to the Q select and write the Q select condition. So you say it is to the entire drawing, but it should be a circle with radius equal to 5 feet. Now you will see that only those circles which are radius equal to 5 feet are selected, right? Now if you want to use more other parameters, let's say Q select, and you say okay, I want to basically do the selection only in this particular selection set. So press enter and say okay, in the current selection object type is circle and the radius is equal to 5 feet. So you can see that the radius equal to 5 feet. The selection is restricted to the selected object. Okay, now next let's do something more, and then let's shift to, so this is the application of Q-Select. So there are more selection tools like the filters, groups, and we already have done the selection by window and crossing window, fence and polygonal window. So we have done already done in the previous sessions. So these are advanced tools for selection, right? Okay, so let's go to the next part. So in the next part, after doing the quick selection, so we can have this create. We already done, but let's see what is the creation selection, what are the other tools for the selection. So it says, for example, I have a circle, I have a rectangle over here in this, so I can show you in the plan also later on. So but for illustration, I am using this platform like let me basically erase all these entities. So here, let's say I moved it. I used a move command. I moved the circle to this particular point. Now, if I want to select this particular circle again, so I say M and say P for previous. That means the previously object which was selected for editing is getting selected. Now let's say I create a rectangle over here, and I create another rectangle over here, right? Remember that the last object that I have created is this particular rectangle. Now I use a move command and I move this circle. The last object selected for editing was this circle. Now let's say if I want to erase, say erase command, and I say L, that means the last object created is selected. Now if I say E, P means the previous object selected for editing is selected. So L means the last object created, P means the last object selected. So if you want to do some modification, let's say I want to copy the last object created, so I say copy L and you can copy this. So now if you say CO copy and say previous, so obviously it was the previous and the last object created was this rectangle, with the previous object selected was this object. So this is the concept of P and L. Now there is a concept of window polygon. So let's say if I use the erase tool and I select all these objects. Now I want to remove this object from selection. So in the select object, if I press R, that means I can remove this object from the object selection. So what will happen? All the objects except these three will be erased. Now another thing is that once you use the modification tool like the erase, I select all these two objects over here, two objects. Now let's say if I want to add the object, so if I say add, obviously it is in the add mode and it will be added to it. So remove is the removing the object from selection set, add is the adding the object to the selection set. Now there are certain things more like the WP and the CP. Let's see what are these. So we have discussed it previously, but I want to touch it again over here because you're using the select object advanced tools. So if I go with the erase again, and the select object, if I say CP means the crossing polygon. So you have this, the crossing polygon will be displayed. So crossing polygon means if the polygon touches anywhere in the object, partially or fully, the object will be selected and erased or selected for modification. Let's say I have this 3 circles and I use, let's say, erase, and I use the window polygon. Now WP is for window polygon, CP is for the cross polygon. Now I will tell you what is the difference. So once you do the WP over here and you create a polygon, now here it is the condition is in the object should completely lie inside the polygon to be selected. Unlike in the crossing polygon, if it had have been partially also, it would have got selected. Now see, only this circle will be erased. Now if, let's say, if I have used the same thing in the crossing polygon, select object CP, so if the object would have been partially inside the polygon, it is erased.